Hello and welcome back to the Karma Stories podcast. I'm Rob and I hope you are having a wonderful day today. Today I have 5 stories for you from the Tales from the Front Desk subreddit. Make sure to follow us on whichever podcasting platform you enjoy the most, and if you're on YouTube, subscribe and drop a like on the video. It really helps us out. And if you do, there just might be cookies in your near future. Nom. Alright, on to today's stories. Let's jump right in. This story comes to us from Bubblegum Yum Yum. Guests demanding refunds because Florida isn't supposed to be cold. As I've been open about it previously, I don't work at a property. Rather, I'm an extended stay guest. I've gotten to know the staff very well, and there is one front desk worker with whom I've become good friends. Knowing she was working a double shift the other day, I picked up dinner for her when I went to get my own takeout. Whenever I do this, I always wait quietly to the side of the front desk until all other guests have been assisted, and I can then give her the food and say hello for a few minutes. Well, this particular day, Thursday of this past week, there was an abnormally long line of people waiting to be helped by the sole front desk employee. Her second shift coverage called out sick, GM and owner had already taken off for the day, and the only other employees on the property were the one security guard and one maintenance personnel who remained only because the owner wanted him to install planters along the edge of the pool, as he'd supposedly seen at an upscale hotel in Miami. Thus, the poor front desk employee was effectively solo, and all I could feasibly do was quietly wait and observe until all guests had exited the front desk area. I swear that everyone in line was bundled up in massive parkas with scarves and gloves. It was 35 degrees in Florida that day, but if you'd merely seen a picture of the front lobby, you'd have thought the hotel was in Minneapolis, Chicago, or somewhere in New England. Then, I began to hear a woman get louder and more aggressive with the front desk employee, because she wanted a refund since she'd booked a week-long trip to Florida, but there was a cold front, plus foggy cloud cover, and she hadn't been able to experience Florida's warm weather and sunshine. I cannot make this up. Obviously, the front desk employee said she couldn't refund the guest for the previous 5 nights of her stay since she'd already completed those days, but she could refund her for the following 2 nights and cancel those 2 days of the reservation. As this conversation was going on, the people in line began talking amongst themselves, and then eventually to people coming in to get coffee from the lobby about how they could get refunds for their stays because of the weather. The line at the front desk grew longer after the chatter made its way to more guests in the lobby. Eventually, the front desk employee had to call the owner several times. The owner never offered to come in to assist, by the way. Before the initial guest and her party, apparently she was with a group comprising 5 rooms total, were given refunds for their final 2 nights once those nights were removed from their reservation. But what followed was a series of subsequent guests going up to the desk asking for discounts on their stays or refunds because they weren't able to enjoy the marina, outdoor tiki bar, or poolside area. The pool itself is heated to 85 degrees because it was in the 30s, 40s, and 50s all week and unusually rainy, foggy, and cloudy. One couple from Europe screamed at the front desk employee about how they'd flown over to Florida for the sunny, warm weather but didn't get to enjoy it, and how the weather was forecast to become warmer the day they were scheduled to leave. What baffles me is that it wasn't just a single guest who tried to get a refund based on something as utterly ridiculous as the weather. I swear that I've never heard such a ridiculous thing in my life, much less from several different guests. Yes, the word-of-mouth train did disseminate the false notion that guests could get refunds due to the weather, and that prompted more people to line up at the front desk. But darn, just the first woman demanding a refund due to weather is absurd. I'm posting this now because I just saw the front desk employee for the first time since last Thursday when this saga unfolded, and she said that the first woman ended up being compensated for her entire stay the following day because she came back and spoke with the owner who gave in. This has to be the most ridiculous reason to ask for a refund though, right? Does anyone have experience with equally or even more absurd guest requests? I'm still baffled by this nearly a week later. Jumping down to the comment section on this one, we have one from a user called Mr. Chameleon DEC. It says, unfortunately, this happens far too often when you have management with no backbone. Another commenter down below called Club Exotic said, when I worked for a large hotel chain, I had a lady complain to me about smoke from a wildfire that was burning about 100 miles away. Another woman complained about the pine pollen on her car. People will complain about anything if they think they'll get something free. Okay, so why don't these hotels have something in their fine print that says, we do not refund for acts of God? Or why don't these people who are traveling have travelers insurance for their trip, which may pay out in this situation? Yeah, I understand most of them won't, but there are really expensive ones out there which will be canceled for any reason. This story comes to us from Mar80356. Yes, you have to check in with photo ID and credit card. Rant. One of the very few things you need to do at any hotel, at any property, is to provide your photo ID and credit card so that we can ensure you are who you say you are. This is for your safety and ours. However, that seems to be more than what some people can handle. Rewind 10 minutes ago. I receive a call from a woman asking about her reservation and to inform me that she will be arriving late. I ensure her that it is fine as long as you arrive before our night auditor runs their report. She also makes a request to just check her in and have her keys ready for her so she can just show up at the front desk and pick them up. No. I check her reservation and she is an ambassador. I inform her that unfortunately, our property does not offer mobile check-in and we will need a photo ID and credit card upon check-in at the front desk in order for us to give her keys. She was not having it. I don't understand. I always stay at the Residence Inn. The front desk always has my keys ready for me. Why can't you just check me in now? I do apologize, but for security reasons, we will need to see your photo ID and credit card in order to check you in. Can't I just text you my photo ID? I really don't have to go through the entire check-in process. I don't understand why this is so difficult. I understand your frustration, but every hotel at every property in the world is going to ask for your photo ID and credit card upon check-in. This ID will need to be physically present as well as the card on file. This is to ensure the safety of you and our guests. I'm going to need your manager's email because this is absolutely ridiculous. I have never heard of this problem before. I just want to get my keys ready for when I arrive. Okay, that is fine. What is a good email to reach you? It's on my profile. Look it up yourself. Okay, have a great night. Goodbye. Do people not understand that anybody can just call a hotel and pretend to be someone else? I could have been a psycho X and called the hotel to get the keys ready so I can meet the real person in their room. Also, our property has plenty of shady people using hacked accounts. I was doing you a favor, lady. Jumping down to the comment section on this one, we have one from a user called Captain Yoyhands. It says, whether you understand it or not, the rules still apply to you and your reservation, and I will not be breaking them for you tonight. Another commenter down below called Dane Alaska Cruise said, yeah, scam, or checking in with a stolen credit card that the owners will then claim fraud on and your property will have to refund. People who can't understand or accept a no are either drama queens or kings or out to scam you. They were probably hoping to talk to a new and inexperienced front desk person that they can push around. Yeah, it really doesn't matter who you are or how important you think you are, you still have to follow rules. And if you don't follow the rules, well, there's consequences. I hope OP left a note on this person's account about how belligerent they were and the issues that they were causing, so that if they caused any other issues going forward, there would be a document trail that would help them get barred from that hotel. This story comes to us from Carrots1975, Confession of an Overwrought Traveler. I don't work in the hotel industry anymore, but as a traveling district manager, I stay in hotels 100 to 150 nights a year. This story happened sometime last year, I believe. This particular week, I had been on the road non-stop in 3 different cities, and this night was my final check-in of the week. It was pouring rain, and I had been in the car for several hours when I finally arrived exhausted and cranky. I adore digital keys and checking in before I get there on the app on days like this, and I headed straight to my room, bypassing the front desk. I was at my emotional breaking point. I have ADHD, and regulating my emotions when I'm this tired is darn near impossible. Anyway, I lugged my suitcase down the hall, only to discover the room I was assigned is actually a storage room. Or so I thought. I wandered around a bit, confused, then went downstairs to get it straightened out. This next bit I'm not proud of, but in my defense, I was really at the end of my emotional rope, so to speak. I told the front desk what was happening while trying not to cry, and they assured me it was there, it was just around the corner. I wasn't rude or disrespectful, but absolutely refused to go back up there because I absolutely didn't have the energy to go up, be unable to find it again, and come back here yet again. So I told them they could go check if they want, but I was staying right here. The poor girl at the desk maintained her professionalism and went to look, then came back to inform me my room was, in fact, around the corner. I wish I could have melted into the floor and apologized profusely, then sheepishly went to find my room. It was, as promised, around the corner. It was something weird like room 427, only it was between rooms 430 and 431, so the numbers were out of order. I got a good night's sleep and felt all sorted by morning and left a letter apologizing, again, to the poor girl at the front desk, and another commending her professionalism to the manager. I hope you're doing well, overworked, and eternally patient girl. Jumping down to the comment section on this one, we have one from a user called It's 5 Somewhere. It says, I mean, I get being tired and cranky, but I'm not sure what your end goal was. You bypassed the desk, thus didn't get instructions, got lost and confused, came back to the desk gave you directions on how to find your room. Yet you were refusing to go to your room after being given direct instructions. The room can't just disappear into thin air. They probably deal with that same situation all the time. I know you didn't handle it well, but the room was never not going to be there, and the FDA knows exactly where the room is. Having them go up and say, yep, the room hasn't moved, it's still around the corner, before you go back up, is a bit too much. This is very much along the lines of those people who insist retail to check the back when they don't even have an area in the back to check, and all products arrive and immediately get put on the floor, so they just go to their break room for 5 minutes. Yeah, I feel like the person from the front desk was just trying to satiate OP in this case, and they probably just went around the corner, likely to a break room or to the bathroom or something like that, and they came back and said, yep, the room's still where it was supposed to be. In fact, that would probably be a really good opportunity to take a bathroom break if you were a front desk agent. So yeah, I understand that OP was tired, but that doesn't really excuse the fact that that room was there and you just couldn't find it, and then you tried to make somebody else go make sure the room was still there. I mean, if you read that back again, it's kinda cringy. This story comes to us from Far Okra 4107. That's none of your business. One of the main questions we ask when people check in, it's a required question because of sales, is, are you here for work or leisure? And if they say work, we ask which company. Normally, this question is not met with rudeness or backlash, but lately, I apparently have developed a unique penchant for making guests irrationally angry when I ask this. None of the other staff have had these responses. They ask it in the same way, in the same tone. I've gotten extremely and unnecessarily rude answers from 4 different female guests in the span of 2 months. This particular guest had an even ruder response than the 3 previous. That is none of your business. Seriously, you would have thought I had asked for her bra size or something? I was feeling quite literal and typed on the line for company, told it was none of my business. Then I moved on, resisting the urge to say that her response was unnecessarily rude. I get to the breakfast hours and such, and she rudely interrupts. I've been staying at this brand name's hotels for 20 years, I know. Okay then, geez. I handed her the keys, and she walked back out of the front door to get her luggage from the car. I look over at my new coworker who I'm training and say, I swear, if she comes back in asking where the elevator is located, I'm going to throw something. A few moments later. Side note, I almost forgot to mention, after saying none of your business, she followed it up with government, FBI, training government employees. So Mrs. FBI walks back in, I avoid contact. She comes to the desk and asks, yes, you guessed it, where are the elevators? It takes everything in me to control my reaction. My eye probably twitched like that girl that does the videos based on working in a restaurant as a waitress does. Resisting my coworker's earlier advice to remind her she has stayed at these hotels for over 20 years, and surely she should know where the elevators are. Instead, I calmly and politely say, around the corner to the right. She goes off, and I turn to look at my coworker, who is struggling not to laugh. I grit my teeth, take a deep breath, and then just burst into hysterical laughter. Jumping down to the comment section on this one, there's one from a user called ApartAd4737. It says, at my hotel, we would ask what company, because some companies have special rates for their employees. I can't speak for anyone else, but at least at mine, if we're asking what company, it's because we're trying to get you a better rate. There were so many people in the comment section for this one saying that it's intrusive for you to be asking that at the front desk when I'm checking in. Okay, but if it's part of their script, then they need to do it. Otherwise, they might get fired. If you really think it's intrusive, then take your arguments to the higher up people at the hotel, but not the person that's working the front desk, because they don't choose what they're supposed to say at that front desk. So the way to answer that question is, I'm sorry, I don't feel like I need to answer that. Let me know what you guys think though. If you're on YouTube, comment down below, and if you're on Spotify, you can leave a comment on the podcast and I'll get back to you. Is it intrusive for a hotel front desk to ask you, are you here for business or for leisure? This story comes to us from Sharika Cat, shutting down an attempt to scam an employee discount. I am not a fan that the Marionette employee discount is an option to anyone who may know the promo code. By the time I arrive for the overnight shift, if I see any reservations with the employee discount code, I run a deposit right away, and quite nearly always find out that the credit card is being declined. Usually, it's a stolen credit card, and if it doesn't authorize, the scammer knows the card's been made unusable. I only check them right away, so I don't have to bother waiting for a guest that will never show up. Tonight, there was one such discounted reservation that checked all of the usual red flags. Not checked in by 11 p.m., a soft red flag, as some people are just traveling late. Request for the online check-in, we don't send out the electronic key until the discount is verified, even for the super shiny tier members. Credit card declined. So I unassigned the room and figured that would be the end of that. Except the woman did come in. Sometimes even high tier members will have a secondary credit card on their profile that's locked until they intend to use it. This way, they can't be charged for any no-show fees, cancellation fees, etc. Scummy for sure. Regardless of the reason, I had a real person in front of me that I could get a matching ID and credit card, so I didn't care. When asked for the discount form, she asked if she can email it. Nope, head on over to the business center and print it out from your phone. Emails don't always arrive right away, and the spam filters may catch or delay them. Making them print a form is faster, and it gives me time to 2FA into the app to verify the form. That form number verified a friends and family discount, not the employee discount, so now we've got a problem. Though she printed out 2 forms and said I could keep one, I still went to the back to make a copy anyway, knowing that she'd try to take the evidence later. As I was heading back to the office, I saw very faintly where the proper X mark had been erased. The typeface of the X to designate the guest's relation to the associate was also different. I informed the woman that someone had given her an altered form. I am not going to accuse her of lying because that would escalate the situation. She argues with me a little bit about the form and is soon enough on the phone with someone about it. I declined her offer to talk to the person myself as it wasn't going to change anything, and in her subsequent conversation, I overheard her say that the form should have been marked as a sibling. Oh, is that so? I confirmed what I'd heard her say. Yes, she's the associate's sibling. Well, the form she gave me, she was marked as child of the associate. So now she's giving me contradictory information. Discount now doubly refused. I refused to give her my name when asked, though I reinforced that I'm the only one here tonight, so her future complaint won't land on the part-time auditor, and give her the GM's business card. I have remarkably little faith in the GM in most situations, but this is one area he weirdly cares about. Sure enough, the woman took the form from me, glad I kept one in the back, though I also have the screenshot of the online app where I entered the form number, and left while still on the phone with whomever. I'm not worried about her calling in to complain, and I doubt I'd even hear about it if she did. Again, very little faith in the GM that I might want confirmation from him that I did the right thing. You hear the bad things, but not the good ones, and that's pretty lame. If I don't hear anything about this by the end of the week, I'll assume I'm not in any trouble, and that's how I expect it to go. I hate that this discount is so easy to book. Jumping down to the comment section on this one, there's one from a user called Make1123. It says, I would always let them know that I would be contacting the employee's hotel and the brand regarding the issue as well. The employees that are allowing it to be used fraudulently need to understand the consequences. It makes the rest of us look bad. OP responded and said, I left that for my supervisor and or manager to deal with. That's above my pay grade. Another commenter down below called rcranen018 said, idly curious here, did she spend the night in the hotel, but without getting the discount? OP responded and said, nope, she left upset. Is anybody else surprised here that they didn't pull the line of, I do this all the time and never have any problems? I like the way that OP handled this person, but I don't know why OP wouldn't give out their name. I mean, they're the only person working there. Your first name isn't going to hurt anything. Besides the fact that you did say you're the only person there, and they'd be able to find it out anyway, why not just tell them? Anyone want to comment on that one? Let me know. If you enjoy daily Reddit stories, I encourage you to follow and give us a rating on whichever podcasting platform you enjoy the most. And if you're watching and listening on YouTube, please hit that subscribe button and drop a like on the video. It really helps us out. I thank you for watching and listening. I hope you have a wonderful day, and we'll see you tomorrow.